Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cryptic Conversations. We have another very, very special guest in store today. Today's guest is myself. Um, I don't have a guest lined up for this episode, so I said, what the hell? I'm just gonna kind of do a brain dump in this episode, and there's been a lot of things happening, and I feel like I have a lot of great insights and great wisdom to share with you all. So who knows? Maybe this will be a good episode. Maybe it'll be a good idea. Maybe it'll be a bad episode. Maybe it'll be a bad idea. But nonetheless, I don't have an outline prepared for this episode. I'm just gonna kind of free flow and speak on things that are in my mind, and hopefully you guys find some value out of it. Okay. So where do I begin? Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I went on an ayahuasca retreat. If you don't know what ayahuasca is a ancient plant medicine. It's found in the Amazon jungle, um, and it's become a lot more popular over the years. I know Joe Rogan has a huge impact on its popularity in recent years. Um, and so, I've had my experiences with psychedelics in the past, mainly mushrooms, and MDMA. But ayahuasca is a plant medicine, or well, technically they brew two different types of plants together into a tea. And okay, DMT. We have DMT in our brain, and when we sleep, that's the reason why we dream. DMT is released from your brain, throughout your body, and that's what causes the dream state. And when we die, DMT is released from your brain, and essentially the ancients, the ancient tribes of the Amazon jungles and various other parts of the world. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like in the Amazon jungle, especially, there's millions of different plant species. The Amazon is considered the lungs of the earth. There's so many different plant species available in the Amazon jungle, and somehow these shamans and these ancient tribes have known how to mix these two specific plants together and brew this tea. And when they brew this tea, and when you ingest it, it causes these psychedelic effects. And I highly recommend you look into it if you haven't heard about it already. This episode is not condoning or recommending or offering any kind of advice. I'm just speaking from my experience for educational entertainment purposes. And yeah, so let's just say, throughout my life, even as a kid, I've always felt that I was different. I don't want to sound narcissistic or egotistical, but I've always just felt like different. I've always felt like the chosen one, like I've been chosen, and I never necessarily knew what that meant, but I've always just felt different than people. I'm a highly sensitive person. Growing up as a kid, I would, so much deja vu and just noticing so many synchronicities, and just very sensitive, and I've always felt more down to earth than people, more in tune with the realities of this world. And I've always been fascinated by life, and I've always known that there's more to this life than what meets the eye. When you really think about it, like life, like what is life? Like, what caused this? Why are we here? Who are we? Where did we come from? Like, sometimes people don't even think about these things, and they're so busy with their lives, just go to work and start a family and eat and sleep, and that's all they care about. They don't really think deeper or think beyond that. So I've always been fascinated by the mysteries of this world, the mysteries of life. I've always been drawn to it. As a kid, being into, telepathy and, psychic stuff and telekinesis and like I said, I've always had deja vu. I've always noticed synchronicities. I've had dreams that have become real, just different things. And I just have always known that I've been in tune with this reality. And you know, this reality is is much more than you think it is. Let's just say that. Um, Also, I'd like to say, I never really grew up religious, um, one way or the other. I mean, I've dabbled with Christianity, and I was never really brought up religious. So I think that was a blessing in disguise. Like it allowed me to search and find the answers on my own, and just do my own spiritual journey. I never let religion define me. I've met I've met religious people that are worse than atheists. um I've always just had the belief that, just be a good person and treat people with respect, and that's ultimately what matters most in life. um but anyways, I'm just gonna get right to it. This ayahuasca retreat that I had last weekend was the most profound experience of my life. Um, I look at myself now, and I look at myself in earlier episodes, and I'm like, that's not even me. That's not the same person. I'm a different person. There's been so much growth that has happened for me in these past couple of years, and I just really want to emphasize to the listeners, to people tuning in, that I really recommend you take time to yourself, figure yourself out, and do the hard work. There's a lot of people out there that are struggling and just going through their same patterns, their same cycles of living. And um, I really recommend you take some time alone, take some time to yourself, and figure out who you really are, and excuse me, and do the hard work that's needed to heal yourself. So I think everything in life happens for a reason. Um, there's been certain things that have happened over the course of my life. Um, let's just say my partying got a little excessive, started to get out of hand, and certain things happened where I had to take a step back and reflect on who I am, and the choices that were being made. And ultimately it led me to my sobriety. And I just, I'm sorry if any of my friends are listening, but I kind of just cut everyone off, and I needed to just be alone. um and I'm still working my way out of it. But I accumulated a lot. I mean, a decent amount of debt, and I knew that my old way of life was not going to get me to where I needed to be. So ultimately, I made the tough decision to get sober, and I cut everyone out, man. It's like I literally work, visit my parents, spend time with my family, work on music, work on the podcast. Just trying to keep myself. Go for walks and enjoy nature, and a few things here and there. But ultimately, I've just been on this journey of sobriety and finding myself, and spending time with myself, and trying to pay off this debt, and trying to become a better version of myself. And that's ultimately what it's been. And so ultimately, my sobriety has led me to seek therapy. And I saw a couple of different hypnotherapists, and that's where it all started. that's where it all began. And like I said, I really, really recommend to anyone struggling out there, know that you're not alone. I love you. We love you. And take the time needed to really fix yourself, heal yourself. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. It's the best thing you can do for your loved ones. It's the best thing you can do for humanity. And so with that, like I said, therapy kind of led me down a rabbit hole research, and I don't know, just like so many things have just started happening for me. It's like I just started figuring out all the answers, and ultimately I said, "What the hell?" and it led me to an ayahuasca retreat, and there's so much to talk about with that experience. Um, First thing I want to say is technically it's a psychedelic, right? But it's more than that. I think, if you're not open to um, that word, you need to reframe it in your mind. And what helped me is understanding that these ancient tribes and these native people, they don't. It's not a drug. It's a plant. It's a plant medicine. They refer to it as the grandmother spirit. Um, the grandmother spirit, grandmother ayahuasca, and that's how they view it, and they use it as a healing practice. As soon as I showed up at the retreat, the gentleman that greeted me and welcomed me to the house was wearing a shirt that said ayahuasca saves lives, and he was such a nice man. You can just feel his energy. Everyone everyone involved with that organization, um, were just so loving and so compassionate and so helping. Um, so, regardless of what people might think about this and this experience, you can't deny that these are caring, loving, positive people. Um, anyways, so it was a 3-day retreat, and the first day was more laid back. Um, there was probably about 40, 50 of us inside of a barn, and we're all on our individual mats. And yeah, it was just such an amazing experience. The day one, the night started with some deep breath work, and man, you don't realize how important breathing is. Some deep breathing. We don't ever breathe. I feel like we go through life with such a shallow breath. And man, this deep breath work exercise, it was like an hour, and at the end of it, man, I was vibrating. My arms were vibrating like intensely, to the point where I had to stop breathing. And it makes me realize, it makes you realize that, Nikola Tesla says it, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. Everything is frequency, everything is energy, everything is vibrating. And when I did this deep breathwork meditation, my whole body was vibrating rapidly, and it was crazy. It was far out stuff. So that was the first night. Well, and then the ceremony starts, right? And so the first night, I only took one cup. And it's very interesting because our shaman is from Colombia. He's been doing this for like 20 years or whatever with his tribe in, I think it was Putumayo, Colombia. And the shaman is a badass, man. This guy is just on another level, man. The way I see him, honestly, he's God's messenger. He's here to heal the planet. He's here to heal people. And you can't hide from him. You can't bullshit him. It's interesting because the way they had it set up, it's like, okay, so like there's 40, 50 people in the barn. And the way they had it set up was the first group of people to go up to the altar for the ceremony are those that have never done ayahuasca. The second group are those that have never done it in general, never done it with this shaman. And then the last group is the group that have done it with this shaman. And so that's how they had it organized. And it's very interesting because the way that it works is like, so you go up to the altar and you have to look him he looks you right into your eyes. And then he pours it, and he looks at you, and he's like, either more or less, depending on what he sees in your eyes. He literally looks into your soul. You can't hide from him. And so that was a very interesting experience. And so it's like, you go up there and you look at him in his eyes, and he knows how much to pour you. And so I take it and I lay down, and Um, it wasn't super intense on night one. I definitely was seeing some colors and some patterns. I feel like I did see myself as a child. Um, I think I even saw my parents' pictures as children, and it kind of helped me forgive them. Like, just see them as they're just children in adult bodies trying to navigate the navigate their life. They're not perfect. Um, but anyways, like you go and you sit back and you lay back on your cot, and dude, like, and then they're playing like all these, they call them Icaros, like all these shamanic songs, and they have like what do you call it? Like he had a harmonica. There's a whole band of native indigenous people up there. And so he had a harmonica and shakers, and they're singing these Colombian songs, and it was just amazing, man. And it was interesting. It's like as they're singing, they're raising the vibration of the room, and they're raising the vibration of the room, and it allows the people to start healing, and what they call it is purging. They refer to it as purging, and essentially what it is we store trauma and negative energy and negative emotions and feelings in our body, and we go around living with it. You don't need to carry it with you. Carry it. Let it go. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. Let it go. And so the purging is, so they give you this bucket to throw up in, and you're letting out all the trauma, letting out all the negativity, letting out all these negative emotions. Um, and I've said it in a previous episode, but from my understanding and my research, I've found that trauma is passed down in our DNA. So sometimes you may not know why you feel the way you feel. You may have had a good life, and you're wondering, like, why do I feel this way? I don't feel right, and maybe it's not your fault. It's like it's been passed down into your DNA. So if you're anxious, depressive, you just don't feel happy, you don't know what's wrong with you. Like, it's not your fault, and I want to let you know that. And like I said, I really emphasize that that you take the time to heal yourself. A lot of us are searching for the answers in these alternative modalities, and to each their own. If that's something that you're okay with and comfortable with, then to each their own. Um, but yeah, so getting back to the experience, so they're singing these songs, and it starts raising the vibration and the frequency of the room. And immediately, or not immediately, I think it was like 20 minutes, there was a girl in a row above, in front of me, and then she starts crying. She's crying, and then after she starts crying, the girl next to her starts throwing up, and then that one over there is throwing up, this one's throwing up, and it was just like happening so much, like throughout the room, and it could be overwhelming. And I've always had this ability to just not be afraid of the dark side of humanity. I can stare into the darkness, and I can look at it, and I can see it, and I can recognize it, and I'm not afraid of it. And so many people in that room. Honestly, I was like one of the maybe two or three. Honestly, I was like one of the only ones where everyone in the room, after they took it, they were laying down and they had their eyes closed, and they were scared, and they were cuddled up, and they were fighting it. Everyone was scared, everyone was scared. And there was a fire in the middle of the room that they had on like an electric, or no, a propane fire. And I was just like laying there, and I was just staring, like looking into the fire, but I was also just like looking at everyone in the room, like going through their pain. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, like sending positive thoughts and positive vibrations to every person. This one's crying, and I'm sending her love. This one's throwing up, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, let it out, mama. Like, let it out. Like, just let it out. Like when you're sick and you have the flu and you want to hold on to it, it's like, just let it out. And so I'm just sending all these loving thoughts like around the room, and I'm just staring into the darkness of this room. And like I said, the first night it wasn't as intense, but I definitely got a taste. I got a glimpse of what was going on. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I mean, it was a very profound experience. So that was night one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on night one. Nothing major. But anyways, I threw up kind of a lot, and I was just in the first night off of 1 cup. Everyone else took 2 cups. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna take it easy, take it mellow. So you wake up the next morning, kind of like in a hangover, but you feel good. Like you let out. I felt good. Like I let out some of the shit that I've been holding on to, and I woke up the next day feeling good. And and yeah, you could just feel the next day like this is gonna be different. You could feel it in the air like day two. This is gonna be the day where the magic happens. This is gonna be the day where it's gonna get intense, and we're all gonna have the breakthrough. And I was scared, I was a little more nervous, um, leading into it. And then day two, and then we have breakfast, we have lunch, and it was on a ranch, and there's hammocks, there's plenty of grass and trees and stuff to walk around, and um, so there was all kinds of different. There's breath work exercises, integration, talking about our feelings, talking about our experiences. There was a drum circle. There was a Reiki healer. There was all kinds of different activities during the day to just kind of different healing methods. And then on night two, I think we had the ceremony around 7. And like I said, on night two, this is when I knew that the breakthrough was going to happen, and I was a little scared. So I was under the impression, night two, I was like, I'll take it easy again if I have to. So I was just gonna do 1 cup again. And so here's where it gets interesting. So, we all take our 1 cup, right? And I'm laying down and I'm like trying to, get mentally ready for the effects to kick in. And I'm laying there, and then time goes by, they're singing the songs and all that. And then he says, second cup, they call out the second cup, and, those who want to go up there, go and take the second cup. Most people were doing 2 or 3 if they had the chance. I was like, nah, I'm gonna take it easy. So I took 1 cup again. And I thought I could hide. I thought I could just kind of like get away with only taking 1 cup, and I just kind of kicked back and just was watching everyone, and it was interesting. The shaman, everyone, I thought I could just blend in, mix in, and I didn't think he even noticed, but he knew. The shaman, he would walk around the room, and the way I would describe it, it was almost like he can feel the energy in the room. Like he walks around the room, and he has these shoes, and he has like this all these necklaces around, and you hear him walking around the room, and the thing about it is, like, the way I would describe it is like tough love. He's a fucking badass. You can't bullshit him. And then the next day, when it's all said and done, he's such a nice guy. You can see he's a nice guy. But it's just tough love. Like, he's there, we're there to heal. That's the whole point of it. And so, he would walk around, and he would do these bird sounds, these bird calls, and he's doing these songs. And like I said, the way I would describe it, it was like it's almost like he can feel where the energy's tight and where it's loose. He's walking around the room, and so I felt like maybe when he walked past me, he felt it was still a little tight right there, and he looks at me. He sees me sit down, he looks at me, and he's like, go up to the altar. And I look at him, and I was like, nah, I'm good. And then he looks at me, and he's like, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. And I was like, okay. So I get up, and then I go to the altar, and I was like, I guess I got to take the second cup. Here we go. There's no running from it now. And so I take the second cup, and I lay down. And so this is where my life changed. I can't even put it into words. I'm going to try my best. It's something that the individual just needs to experience, and then we would understand each other. So let me just say, it was the most profound experience of my life. I know I had mentioned it, that I grew up, I never was religious. I was never religious. Did I believe in God? Did I believe in a creator throughout my life? Sometimes I believed, sometimes I didn't. I wasn't sure. And I know I said it on the episode with Rick Levine, the astrologer. I've always had this feeling. I told him, I said, I feel like human beings were so smart that we're stupid, that we're looking for the answers in the external, in the external world. We're looking for all the answers out there, when no, we're doing it all wrong. The answer is within. It's within. Close your eyes, meditate. This external world it's an illusion. The best way I could describe it. And getting back to my point. Okay, so I took the second cup, and then he's singing these songs, and it gets so intense. It gets so intense that he's raising the frequency, raising the vibration in that room, and you hear everyone in the room just going through their experience, and it's just like some girls almost sound orgasmic, some girls are crying and some are laughing, and man, it's just like so profound, and people are throwing up and they're healing themselves. And for me, it was like the most profound experience of my life. I literally closed my eyes and I stopped fighting it. I remember I was sitting in this position with my fingers interlocked, and that was my comfort position, and I was sitting there like that, right? But it was the medicine. I would almost describe it as God. I met God, it was like the medicine, the Great Spirit. She was communicating with me telepathically, and it was like such a powerful presence that you could not deny it. It was there, and it was rocking my world. Like, we're electrical beings. The reason our fingers and our muscles and everything move, those are electrical signals from your mind through your nervous system, and that's why we move. And we're electrical beings. We don't realize it, how very electrical. And so that's how I would describe it. It was like shocking my system, and I was like losing control of my body, and I couldn't. It was basically telling me, like, stop fighting it, just like let it happen, And I was seeing these beautiful colors, man, these beautiful colors and these beautiful patterns, and it was just so mesmerizing and so beautiful. And I'm gonna try and remember what it told me. Essentially, what it was saying, it was just like I was going within, and I was kind of trying to ask questions, and it was kind of like it was telling me like it showed me my life, and it basically told me, like, look, basically I have this problem where I want to be someone else. I want to live a different life. I want to be richer. I want to be more handsome. I want to have what that guy has, or whatever, And it basically, what it showed me was, it was like, look, this is your contract. You chose this life before you came into existence. This is your life. You chose this life. Appreciate it. Love it. It's that simple. Look at you. And it was tough love, and it was loving me, and it was telling me, like, look, you chose this life for a reason. You're here for a reason. And what else was it telling me? It was just telling me, like, stop overcomplicating life. Life is so simple. Enjoy it, appreciate it, love your fellow human, love humanity, love Mother Earth, connect to nature, pursue your purpose in life, and love your fellow humans, and heal yourself and heal humanity. It was telling me, just like, stop overcomplicating things. It's really that simple. Just love life, love yourself, love your fellow human. So those were the messages that I was given, and it was just so profound. It was like, human beings, we think we're in control. We think we some of us are control freaks, and we want to control everything, control people, control life. but this told me and it showed me, and it was so overwhelming that it was like, okay, I get it. Like, yes, I bow down to you. Yeah, thank you for giving me life. Thank you for everything. I love you. It was letting me know like who was in control. We are not in control, let me tell you that. And if I could just leave the listeners with anything, is just to understand, and just to understand that I know life can be hard. I know life can be hard, and sometimes it might not seem fair. But I want you to know that there is a divine creator to this world, and this world is a lot more. There's a lot more to this world than you think. If you even could fathom the realities of this world, you'd be mind blown. There is a creator, there is a divine intelligence to this life. This life is not by accident. We're here for a reason. We're here to learn lessons. And I don't know, personally for me, I start to really resonate with reincarnation and the karmic cycle. And, we really are. We're here to learn lessons. And as we go along life, we're a soul. We don't have a soul. We are a soul. What we have is a body. We're a soul going through this human experience, and we're here to learn lessons. And we just keep hopefully leveling up. That's as far as I've gotten at this point, and then that just opens up so many more questions. But okay, so beyond the messages that the medicine was giving me, I also had an experience of dying. I'll just be straight up with it. I had an experience of dying, and that's what they refer to as an ego death. Our ego is what controls our life. It tells us, I'm this person, I'm this way, I act this way because of my upbringing, and this is who I am, and people see me this way, and we live our whole lives through our ego. And what they refer to that experience of dying as an ego death. Excuse me. And yeah, I had it, and it was the most profound experience. Like I said, it was those presence of grandmother ayahuasca was so powerful. The messages shock in my system. It was like, all I could see was bright, beautiful colors and patterns. It was moving, and it was so overwhelming. It was like that was the world that I was in. And I wanted to go back to my regular life. And I was like, please just let me go back. Like, I understand now. And it got so intense. Like I said, they describe it as like, you have to just let go. Don't fight it. And like I said, I was in this comfortable position with my fingers interlocked. And I had to like slowly just like let them go. And next thing I know, I was losing control of my body. And it literally put me into a fetal position. And I'm laying on the mat, and I had an experience of dying. Like, what was the best way to describe it? It's like, those old TVs, when you turn it on or you turn it off, it's slow to turn off or it's slow to turn on. Those old TVs, that's kind of what it was like. It was like my vision was like slowly, and I died. And I was like, but I could still feel my thoughts, and I was conscious, but I died. And then it was like slowly rebooting, and it came back. I opened my eyes and I come back to life, and I'm back. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for ever doubting you. I'm sorry for not appreciating life. Thank you. I love you. I'm back. This is what I want, because it was so overwhelming and so powerful. And I remember I had this weird feeling too, where it was like all of my chakras were like rebooted, like boom, boom. All my energy centers in my body just were rebooted. And I'm laying there, and I even felt it like in my private area. It was like boom, boom, boom. It all came back online, and I was back. And like I said, it was the most profound experience of my life. And I remember the guy next to me, we were kind of vibing, like we were kind of on the same level. Like, and it was like all you could feel in the room was the breath. Like you could feel like the breath came back, right? And you could feel that me and him were kind of on the same vibe. And I remember saying something funny where it was like I said something. I was like, we understand, we understand. Like, I'm sorry, you know. And he was laughing, and people were laughing. It was like we were so grateful to come back from that experience. Like, we're back, and um, um, you know, in ancient religion texts, you know, they, a lot of them, I think even Jesus, right, you know, like I said, I'm not an expert on religion by any means, but they talk about, you know, being born again and the rebirth. And I think that's kind of what it takes for us to really appreciate life. And yeah, like, there's so much more that I could talk about, but I'll be talking for hours. um the next day was another profound experience. um Essentially, I was I was trying to fight it, and I was only going to do one cup. The last day, it was Sunday, and he said no, that he wanted everyone to go outside and lay in the grass and enjoy the experience laying in the grass. Everyone's laying in the grass, and I'm sitting in a chair with my bucket, and I'm sitting in the chair. And I thought it was just going to be chill, you know, like, it's Sunday, like, I've already had my intense night the night before, like, I just want to take it chill. And I'm sitting in the chair, and then the effects start to hit me. I just did the one cup, remember? And it's interesting too. It's like, as you're throwing up, it almost feels like orgasmic. Like, it feels good, like, you know, you're letting out a lot of trauma and negativity. And as you're doing it, then the visuals and the effects start to kick in. And as I'm doing that, like, the effects start to kick in. And I remember I had this one really nasty, honestly, oh no, I didn't even throw up that much. It was more dry heaving on the last day. It was like, I got everything out on the first 2 nights. But I was more dry heaving. And I remember sitting in the chair with my bucket, just dry heaving, and everyone's laying down. And I had this really loud, embarrassing dry heave where it was just so loud and so embarrassing. And I had to look at everyone, like, I know everyone heard, like, how loud and embarrassing it was. And the one guy, he was like one of the facilitators. I remember he heard it. It was so loud, and we locked eyes, and he looked at me. And as that happened, we locked eyes and we looked at each other. And I looked at him, and I saw him, and I was like, I saw him. He was melting. He was dying. He was going through death. He was about to, you know, go under. And so was I. And it was like, ugh. And then it was interesting too, because as that happened, you know, I'm starting to lose consciousness almost. And it was like, it was so interesting. I was fighting it, right? I was sitting in the chair. Everyone's laying down on the grass. I was trying to be tough, you know, try and take it easy. And the shaman was in the barn, minding his own business. I don't know how he knew. He fucking knew. He came from way over there out of the barn, he's walking by me, and I'm just sitting there. He's walking by me, and literally all he had to do was walk around me. His energy is that powerful. He just walked behind me, and as he walked behind me, I'm seeing him and I'm feeling him, and he starts to walk away. As that happened, I fell out of my chair, and I had to, like I said, I had to let go. Stop trying to control everything. I had to let go to the experience, to the medicine. And next thing I know, I'm laid out on the grass with no towel, no blanket or anything. I just laying there, and I think what this medicine does is it connects us to nature. When's the last time you took your shoes off and put your feet in the grass? When's the last time you laid in the grass? When's the last time you appreciated the wind, when you appreciated the birds singing? And that's what happened, man. It was like I was laying in the grass, and man, I had another intense experience that day, and I wasn't anticipating that. It was a wild ride, just in and out, and there was a lot more healing happening with everyone laying in the grass. A lot of girls, some girls crying, and, you know, I saw one girl, she couldn't hang, man. She couldn't handle it, and she started taking her clothes off. She got naked, dude, like. And what else? I mean, there was another guy, he was just fighting it. He kept fighting it. He wouldn't let go. And they had to, like, walk him into the house. And, you know, there was certain people that just, they don't know how to let go of control. And I can understand that, you know, those people that have a lot of stuff that they're dealing with up here, or they're always a control freak. You can't be like that in this experience. So yeah, I mean, it was such a profound experience. I'm forever changed. I'm more spiritual than I've ever been in my life. I'm more connected to nature. I'm more connected to my fellow humans. I'm more connected to myself. And I just feel like I'm a lot happier. My senses have increased. You know, when the wind blows, I love it more. I appreciate it more. My sense of smell is better. My sense of taste, music sounds good again. I love DJing again. I love making music again. And I just, the things that we take for granted, I just love everything more. And like I said, it was the most profound experience of my life. And I knew that when I came home, I wanted to visit my parents. You know, they're getting older, and I don't know how much time left I have with them. And you know, my dad is 78, my mom is 74, and I know that they're not perfect, but I love them. And like I said, what I got out of that experience was forgiving them and forgiving everyone, and just loving everyone, and learning to love myself more. And I knew that when I came home, I wanted to try and explain this to them as best as I could. And when I came out of the retreat, like, I never do this, you know, and it just shows like how much of an impact it had on me. But I went home and I visited them, and I sat them down, and I told my dad, I looked him in his eyes and I said, "Dad, give me your hand." And he gave me his hand, and I held my dad's hand, and I looked him in his eyes, and I told him I loved him and I forgave him. And I went over to my mom and I said, "Mom, give me your hand." And I looked her in her eyes and I told her I loved her and I forgave her. It was the most profound experience of my life, and so much healing happened, so much love, so much joy. And you know, I'm being vulnerable. I don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm going to put this episode out. We'll see. But the goal of this was me to just kind of get these things off my mind. And I'm stepping more and more into my authentic self, more and more into my truth. And I'm here for a reason, and I'm going to be doubling down on the podcast, my music, and healing. I want to heal people, man. I'm here for a reason. I feel it. That weekend showed it to me. I think I doubt myself a lot. I think people are honestly sometimes threatened by my power, and I can't let that hold me back. And so I'm if you knew me 2-3 years ago, it's not me. Allow me to reintroduce myself. So I guess that's the message of this episode is, you know, I just wanted to share this enlightenment, this wisdom. You know, some people are going to judge and some people are going to be open to it. And, you know, I'm just here to share the experience. There's so many other stories that I could tell, maybe in another episode. Or, you know, maybe if I see you in person or whatever. But yeah, like I said, I guess to kind of close it out, the meaning of this episode, the purpose of this episode is, you know, I'm trying to help people heal. Times are tough. The economy is shit. We have inflation. We have increasing cost of rent, food, everything. The price of everything has gone up. There's not enough jobs. Artificial intelligence is growing at a rapid rate. You know, the country is in shambles. You know, we got threat of world war. You know, we're fighting with each other. There's just so much pain in the world, and I can feel it, and I know we all can feel it. But like I said, I think the purpose of this episode and the message that I want to send out to all of you, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting me. I honestly feel like I don't get as much support as I need, and I don't really ask for help. And you know, if you could find it in your heart to like, comment, subscribe. Um, that's really all it takes, to help the algorithm and help me get more eyes on my podcast, on my music. And like I said, I know people are gonna have some people are gonna have a negative judgment, on what this channel is about, UFOs and conspiracies and psychic stuff and the secrets of the world, and that's fine. Whatever you want to judge, that's fine. You can go ahead and judge. I'm living my truth. Like I said, I know that there's more to this world than what meets the eye, and I feel like I'm enlightened. I feel awakened. I feel like it's such a blessing for the shaman to share this wisdom with me and with all of us. And anyways, like I said, what I'm trying to say is, kind of closing it out, is take the time to heal yourself. When you heal yourself, you heal your family, you heal your generations of ancestry, you heal your trauma. And when you do that, you help humanity, and you help us all move humanity forward. We're not individuals. Humanity, we're all one. We're all one living organism in the creation of God, whatever you conceive God to be. So like I said, I just want to close it out with that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. I love you. I wish you healing. I wish you happiness. I wish you nothing but love and living the best life that you can with the hand that you've been dealt. Life can be hard sometimes, and of course, like, I'm not perfect by any means, and just because I went on this retreat doesn't mean I've solved all my problems. Life is going to continue to throw curveballs at us. It's going to continue to throw things our way, problems, and it's our job to find the solutions to those problems. And it's our job to take real good care of ourselves, because that's the best thing we can do for anyone else. So I guess I'll leave it with that. Thank you again for watching. If you have any questions, if you want to, feel free to reach out to me, add me on Instagram. I'm also even considering, pursuing some kind of coaching or something too. Like, I really want to help people, and that's what I'm here to do with this channel and with the music, helping people dance on the dance floor and smile and laugh. It sucks that I feel like I don't get the opportunities that I should be deserving sometimes, but it's okay. It's probably my fault too. I don't put myself out there enough. But like I said, I just want to heal people through the music, through the messages of this channel, in any way that I can. So thank you for listening. Thank you. I love you, and stay tuned for more. Thanks.